I have to confess that for me, we started this conversation saying that we needed to protect diversity, and I have a very totally different vision because I think we are not protecting it. We have to market it, and actually, like the wish of people to see diverse. I will use the word content, which is not what I like. I like films, but still, it's what we are living in. I think we are watching films of very different type, as probably never ever in let's say film history.
Jean-Christophe, do you worry about, I mean, we think of France, we're in this magical land of cinema. Do you worry that culture is changing at all, that kids are watching TikTok instead of Bresson?
So I have to confess that for me, we started this conversation saying that we needed to protect diversity, and I have a very totally different vision because I think we are not protecting it. We have to market it, and actually, like the wish of people to see diverse. I will use the word content, which is not what I like. I like films, but still, it's what we are living in. I think we are watching films of very different type, as probably never ever in let's say film history. So when you are talking about diversity, I think the question we are tackling now for film by female filmmakers, minorities, and so we are now much better than we have ever been. So the question is, how do we bring audiences to go to see this film, to attract them, to and as well the question about films: is film still as important as it was in the past? That's a serious issue, and the question of theatrical, of course. But so I'm much more positive in the way I see that. I think people want to see things, and we are working on that. We need to make the revolution sometime of the way we work. I mean, of course, we have a new environment, new economics. I think here we are all fighting for innovative films with sometimes not so easy contents, but somehow we have to balance it with what is very artistically interesting, what's working, and as well how we can make money with it. Just one very small remark. So my company, so it's in France, but in Germany, between two countries. I think all the foreign films for the Oscars this year were represented by European companies. So it's not like we are fighting. We are almost the leaders. We know that there is, of course, an American economics for films which is on top, but we are probably the second biggest market, and we are very strong. So, and that's working pretty well.
Hey, some good news. How do you see how European independence can complement or compete with some of these global brands? Are you working with any of them? Do you sell to Netflix and Amazon? Or
yes, of course we do. Well, actually, to be fully honest, we work with a lot of films which are pure art films for theatrical. But at the time, we sold Divine to Netflix, which was the first French film acquired by the platform, which was full of controversies. Personally, I think all the films are not made for all the different platforms. It's in a strange way you can have a film which is perfect on Netflix to target specific audiences, and would have totally different people in other experience. If I take the experience of Divine, for example, which won the Camera d'Or 5 years ago, the problem we face with a film like Divine is some specific minorities do not go to see art films in the city center. And they would love this film if they see that somewhere else. So the question how we try to reach these audiences on different scale for us is a permanent question. And the answer, of course, as a sales company, we work in all the countries in the world, so the answer is different territory per territory. So unfortunately, I don't have just one good answer, but it's true that in some spaces, we had a film called On Body and Soul that won the Golden... so On Body and Soul, which was released in all the countries in Europe, won the Golden Bear in Berlin, Oscar nominated. It was going theatrical in all the countries in the world, and it was Netflix for North America. So the world is big, I would say.
And we can all maybe work together somehow. Yes.
And the idea to compete with the platforms, I'm not sure it's exactly the way we can do. It's we have to partner. Sometimes we are competitors for some films, but it's an environment.
Okay. And Jérémie, I think when we looked at the French cinema industry, obviously the CNC is the cornerstone of that. So I just wondered your thoughts on how do we protect the variety of French cinema that we've seen today? How do we even keep that expanding more? How do we make sure you're supporting the right kinds of new storytellers? What's the CNC's thoughts on that? Big job to represent.
Yes, thank you. First of all, the diversity, which is the key issue of this panel, has been at the core of European politics and French politics for years. I mean, it's what we've strengthened for at the European level for like 50 years. Diversity is an actual notion in the European law. It's quoted on the main treaty for the European Union as one of the objectives of the Union, and at the Article 167 of the other treaties, of Treaty about the functioning of the EU, diversity, cultural diversity is quoted as a very important notion which the European Union has to take into account in all its policies. And that means that when the European Union acts, it has to take into account the cultural diversity. I wanted to stress that, to say that it has been an objective of political, I wouldn't say fight, but in French, combat of political arguments for years. And we are just getting of a period in which we made very strong steps forward with the AVMS directive, which everybody knows here, or the copyright directive, because these are meant to protect the diversity, the cultural diversity. These are meant to make sure that audiovisual, which we are talking about, or cinema, are not into the standards markets logics. But starting from that, it's true that we have the conviction that we need to go still forward, to go further. And at the CNC, we have always believed that when you support the industry and when you support also some words that are not that bad as they sound, like consolidation of enterprises, structuration of the sector, you are making things happen. I mean, the diversity in the European law, it's based on the notion of biodiversity, actually. It functions in a way the same way. So I'm going to go back to the title of the conference, The Constant Gardeners, because its diversity in the European law is like a garden, but it's not a jardin à la française. It's not like a garden which is always perfect. It's an ever-flourishing garden, like a Japanese, or no, I don't know them as well, but like a British garden. And so you have to make them grow and to make very important trees grow so that you can have a whole range of enterprises able to make the new project that they are to make. And there is a last question I would like to, I mean, it's not a last question, obviously, but that I would like to tackle is the issue of the control of the enterprises. We are proud here to say, as you reminded, that European films are recognized all around the world, and especially at the Oscars or here at the Cannes Film Festival or other festivals in the world. But today, what we think in France is that and in Europe, is that we have to make sure that the European works the European enterprises, are still may keep European in the choices. I mean, the choices, the artistic choices that they can keep into the EU, so that we still have these European voices being heard.